Yo, Jay, can we get some ratchet one time?
Look, I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft. All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the stop, I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the plays. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peace, you gon' see the flex when you hear these writtens. Trust me, you know the difference. I got a long ways to climb before you see a slippage. I see the process and the journey I'm supposed to be, but perplexed, cause I don't really see nobody close to me. Hopefully this ain't wasted and I know it ain't. You gotta take the time for seasoning to marinate. You need the patience under pressure just to detonate. I'm trying to blow up and these heathens need to get it straight. Gifted with a vision and precision, I'm just trying to make it high key. Might be breaking free like I was Zion in some Nikes. Tucked at the crib, bro, you know just where to find me. Making beats and spitting crack verses pretty likely. Yeah, socks with the burst, boy, I ain't changed a bit. Normal guy till I die, you know what it is. You probably thought I'd give up now that I got some kids, but really now I got these arrows aiming at your ribs. I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft. All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the stop, I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the plays. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peas. Hey, please be on the notice, these my motives. Bought my chicken and it's rotis. You parsimonious, you take it all cause you a locust. My focus is to grow this mission. A visionary, get a dictionary. We here off the rip and we ain't sharing, we just caring. Let me speak it to the manager. We damage her, no you ain't messing with an amateur. I'm ramming, the competition ain't standing up. They fanning from left to right cause now they branded us. Now who that is? Mike Jones, they ain't want me now, they all on me. Got counterfeits trying to play me, I guess they thinking I'm Sony. These big head dummies showing up and out of their character. Homie, you need a price cause without it the squad ain't hearing you. Top of that, we ain't fearing yet. We swinging for the fences with the sting of a left hook that connects with Sonny Liston. I'm dismissing any and all of the disrespect. Nonetheless, it ain't a threat, I'm just letting y'all know who's next. I don't wanna talk. How you try and press the kid and really you was soft. All you know is capping, homie, you don't know the law. Pedal to the metal, you ain't catching me in park. I just hit the start, I don't wanna speak. Talking all that good, so I just hit you with the plays. Running up the score like Tyreek, I'm going deep. Watch me how I'm saucing, I be spreading it with ease. You gon' see the peas, you gon' see the...
Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fuck with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoe, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas, keep. You with me, sheesh. But need cheap keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, at the top of the class on a roll. Ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Mafia, oh my God, we're so close, guys. We're so close to that $97,000 target that we've been looking for Ever since we came down to that $75,000 weekly naked point of control, I want to break down a few things with you guys. I want to take a look at the higher time frames. I'm going to give you kind of the bullish case here and then the bearish case as well. I'll let you know which way I'm leaning. But as you guys know, we've been looking for this bigger retracement to the upside, targeting the macro golden pocket at about $97,000. And it is not just the golden pocket, guys. We have a ton of confluence in this zone. Which means two things, right? We have a kind of a sticky situation coming in here. As we do have the golden pocket, we have all the horizontal levels at that same exact level. And we also, we still have the higher time frame money flow coming out. So I want to talk about this key level. What happens if we get the harsh rejection? What is price going to look like then? Can we go make a new low? And what happens if we break above this level? And we kind of talk about this just about every day as Bitcoin's kind of been bing-bonging around at those lower levels for a while. But I kind of want to give you guys a breakdown of what I'm looking for here as we potentially approach that $96,000 to $97,000 key level of resistance. So shout out to the CandleMafia. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in. Smash that like button if you have not already, and say what's up to the mods. Shout out to the mods. I appreciate everything you guys do for the channel. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob right in here. Shout out to you, bro. Speaking of the mods, we got Tyler Durden in the chat. We got Darren Does Things. Tony D, technically a mod, I guess. Shout out to Tony D. Shout out to Darren Does Things. But guys, Tyler Durden, Captain Kirk, you guys know who the mods are. Crypto Billy, Chemistry Bro. Show them some love in the chat, guys. But yeah, we're going to break down Bitcoin for you guys. I'm going to talk about the next moves I am looking for. Let's see. Shout out to Poster. What's going on, bro? It said Trump speaking. Oh, God, baby. Is it going to send it to 97K or is he going to send it to 0? But yeah, let's see. We got Spaghetti Regretti in the chat said, Frankie, your hair has grown and you seem to be sitting higher on the chair. I do have a couple of phone books down here because, I have been talking about how I'm 6 foot tall. And, I got to make it believable, right? I'm just kidding, guys. But shout out to Dr. Sheko. Welcome in. Let's see. We got My Passive Freedom. Welcome in. Satoshi Stacker. Good to see you in here, bro. Let's see. We got Garlic Powder in the chat, guys. We got all the Italians in the chat. We got the garlic powder. I got the sauce. We got Tony D making the pizza. Let's go. We got Raza in the chat. Welcome in, bro. Nirvana, what is going on? We got My Passive Freedom. Lars, Generate. What is going on? But yeah, guys, thank you for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. And let's go ahead and break down this price action. We're going to talk about those key levels of support and resistance, and we're going to break down exactly what I'm looking at here for Bitcoin, hopefully over the next week, and hopefully we don't just go sideways. But let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. So here we are, guys. Now, I'm going to start here on the higher time frames. I don't want to spend too much time. Obviously, we all know that we have been waiting for that $75,000 level, and ever since we wound up approaching our macro trend line here once again, we were talking about the idea of getting those macro bull divs, signaling a potential break to the upside. But it wasn't just that, guys. It was also the fact that we had the money flow starting to come back up on the daily. We had the daily bull div, the 2-day bull div, the 3-day bull div, and that is what made us look for this bigger retracement targeting finally at around $97,000, guys. But that $97,000 level is absolutely going to be a huge decision moment for Bitcoin, guys. This is potentially going to be the thing. And either way, right, if this winds up being like a massive macro lower high and then another massive drop to the downside, I will kind of talk about what I'll be looking for if that is going to be the case. It's either going to turn out something like that, or if we break that level, guys, this is really that large zone that, if broken, could open up the door to those new all-time highs. And I know this is really nothing new, eventually looking for that break of structure, the upside for that new all-time high. And I know this really isn't anything new because we've been looking at this for so long. And shout out to Tony D. I was actually talking to Tony. Let me see if I can pull this up. Am I going to be able to find the post in time? But we have been looking at this, guys, all the way back in February as we before we ever came down to that key level, which is that 786 Fibonacci retracement. I could see. I think we're going to post it on Twitter. I don't want to waste too much time looking for it, but we've been looking for this, guys, ever since we started to get this bigger drop to the downside, right? And we just simply wait for that Fibonacci retracement, and that is our best opportunity to put in that higher low and then look for a potential either retracement into our local golden pocket for a lower high and then a massive lower low. I don't know if it's going to go down to 61K, or that's kind of the opportunity to put in a higher low for a massive break of structure to the upside into new all-time highs, and that's kind of where we could start talking about, $118,000 to $130,000, and then potentially beyond. We'll have to assess the situation as we get up there. But that's kind of what we're looking at, guys. And I really just did kind of want to start off on these higher time frames and take a look here at the. Let me make sure I got the right chart up here. Okay, here we go, right? So I'm going to break this down because I want to talk about all the confluence we have at that level, guys, because, again, this is not just going to be Let me zoom out, turn off market cipher A, actually turn off all the indicators here. We'll just look at the raw price action. So yeah, right, we looked at that weekly naked point of control sitting down here at 75K. We broke up, flipped this weekly naked point of control at about $83,500 to support. I believe this was also our current value point of control of this little local volume profile we were trading in. You get above that value area, you get above that POC, you're going to be looking for price to come into that value area high. It's actually a slightly different level because we broke out there. But that's where we were looking to come up to that $88,000 level, right? You go from the low, flip the POC, and then look to go up to the high. And then again, if we were able to break out there, again, with those daily bullish divergences, 2-day, 3-day, etc., the weekly green dot, the 10-hour money flow crossover into the green, that's why we were looking for that bigger retracement to the upside. And it's really funny because I wish Tony, could you potentially send me a screen? Actually, let me see. Maybe I could pull it up here real quick. We have been looking at this for so long, right? Let me see if I can find this post. All right, let me see if I can actually screenshot this really quickly. All right, that's actually from April 10th. That's not what I'm looking for. All right, I'm not going to be able to pull it up right now. But we've been looking at this like ever since February. I believe 27th was the first time we were kind of starting to look at this. And it's really funny, right? Because before February 27th was like all the way over here, right? And the confirmations that we were looking for to kind of give us a solid idea that that bottom was going to be very likely for the bigger retracement. I was looking, right, in that Discord post. I said in the post that we were going to be looking for daily bullish divergences with money flow coming up. High time frame bull divs with the daily money flow coming up. And obviously, guys, we have seen not only the daily, the 2-day to 3-day, the macro bullish divergences we wanted to see into that key level of support. Remember, this is where everybody was screaming bear market, but I was sticking to my guns saying that, again, no reason to really expect a bear market. That was a horrible straight line. But, no reason to really look for the bear market to be here, right? Because we're not really breaking any significant structure, right? So, as we come up here, I'm going to talk about kind of why I am a little bit suspicious up here at that golden pocket. Not only is it the higher or high probability area, the high probability area to put in a lower high, right? If we're going to be looking for lower highs and lower lows, this is going to be that kind of big level to look at first to see a bigger rejection. And again, I'm not saying this is guaranteed, but if you're going to look just from a simple Fibonacci standpoint, guys, if you're going to look for a retracement, a lower high and a lower low, this is just how you would expect that to play out, right? And I'm not saying this has to happen. I'm not saying that, thumbnail says, is this a trap, right? I'm not saying a trap for zero. And I'm not even necessarily saying that we have to see it be a trap, but I want you guys to be aware of all possibilities because remember, everybody's screaming bear market down here. What happens? You get the bounce. You get the retracement that we were looking for. And now I just kind of feel like everybody kind of thinks the bull market's back on, which I hope so. And it's definitely a possibility. But, you have to think to yourself, right? When the masses are calling for the bull market to be back, they are right sometimes. But more often than not, when everybody gets bullish on a big pump like this, you are at least going to see some kind of a pullback. And again, you might be asking yourself, well, Frankie, why would you even be interested or entertaining the fact that this could be a lower high? Well, let's not forget, guys, the higher time frame money flow is still trending to the downside, right? Now, we did get a little pop up here on the 3-day. This is as good of a situation as we can be in with the information that we're given, right? We had money flow coming out. We're starting to get a peak to the upside. That's decent, but it's not enough to say bull run back on, right? And then we come up to the 4-day money flow starting to come back up. So this doesn't look that bad, but we have to understand, guys, with this weekly money flow, we need this to really come up because if this is just going to give us a retracement into the golden pocket and we get those bearish confirmations, I am going to be looking for shorts up here, regardless of if I think it's going to give us a massive lower low. This is definitely a possibility, guys. Again, I'm not saying it's going down to 62K, but this is definitely a possibility, right? We're not saying it's the highest probability situation, but it is definitely a possibility, right? And looking at that money flow could indicate that the longer-term trend may continue to the downside, right? And this is, we always go back to 2021 and kind of show, right? You come down, put in a lower high into a golden pocket 786. I won't pull it just to save time. And then that money flow crosses over into the red, massive bear market. Now, again, I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen or anything like that, but I would just want you guys to be aware. And we're going to talk about the bullish case too, right? Because if we wind up breaking above this level, it could potentially send Bitcoin into new all-time highs, right? But again, it is not just the golden pocket, guys. If I pull this up, right, you can see all this confluence in here, right? We have the golden pocket. We have a daily naked point of control, a monthly naked point of control, a weekly horizontal, which you could barely see, a daily level, and then above the top of the golden pocket here, just above 97K, we have a daily naked point of control and a daily horizontal. But to be quite honest, between about our next key level is going to be sitting at $95,532, right? And this is where I will be looking for shorts all in this zone. And I would say that kind of first major zone to look at is going to be between about, 97K is your psychological level, right? So you want to, I would kind of creep that up to 97K all the way down to about 95, 550 or 580, right? So I'll turn this red for shorts. So again, it is not just the golden pocket. It is all these high time frame levels, monthly, naked, point of control. That is a big level, guys. So here's the thing, right? There's good news and bad news. The good news is, right, if we do wind up continuing up here, right, and we come in here, even if we don't make lower lows, guys, in my opinion, right, I'm going to be looking for shorts here, even if it's going to be a lackluster retracement for a higher low and a higher high, right? That is definitely something we could see happen. But just because the golden pocket is there and that money flow is still, and I will say this, I talked about this yesterday, right? The fact that the daily money flow hasn't even crossed over into the green yet, and we're already almost at that key level, kind of makes me feel pretty good. But we're going to play it level to level. And, there's a few different possibilities here. And we're just going to, again, treat the price action from a binary standpoint, right? Like, I don't care what the sentiment is, especially if everybody is super, super bullish as we push into this level. Oh my God, big breakout, right? Probably at least going to get some kind of a pullback, right? And just because we have the resistance there doesn't necessarily mean that, we could take a shot at that short and we could just rip right through it, potentially, right? But we have to be careful because this is just like, I don't want anyone to ignore this. This is massive, massive resistance. The good news is if we obviously break above this level, and again, this is not something that's new. We've been talking about this forever. If we get up in here and we start flipping this level 2 support, guys, if I pull up the VPVR, right, this kind of just makes it nice and visual here, right? We knew that once we broke these lows, we were very likely going to see an aggressive move down, right? Because we had a very big lack of volume there. We had a lot of liquidation sitting down here, giving you that aggressive drop to the downside. And if we move up here, right, the highest volume node, right, above is sitting right in that zone, which is obviously, to be expected, right? If the golden pocket, all these key levels, right? And that's where we have that massive, massive, massive high volume node. This is also the POC of this local range, right? So there is massive resistance here. But the nice thing is, if we break above it, it could be the doorway, right? And we always talk about the value area lows being doorways. And I am going to go onto our other chart and zoom into the local price action and kind of talk about that. But I just want you guys to, like, even if we turn off all the TA here, like just looking at the volume profile, this is a massive, massive wall. And that's why I say this is decision time for Bitcoin because, if we get a rejection here, it could wind up, I'm going to be looking at it as like a day trade or a scalp until proven otherwise, right? And then if we get a little cool off, we will be taking profits along the way, moving our stop loss to protect ourselves. That way, if we do put in the higher low and get the next big move up, we'll stop out in profit. But, just visually here, right? If you don't know a lot about TA and you're just trying to learn, the visible range volume profile is a really, really good way to kind of visualize where those big, big areas in the market are. And just to show it, right? Huge wall. And then you start looking at all the technical levels. You have all the naked points of controls, the horizontal levels, the POC, massive, massive level. But the nice thing here is, guys, obviously, if we do break above that, and we're able to hold above that POC, in my opinion, because of this high volume node, right? Oftentimes when you flip the value area low to support, you look to go to the POC. If you could flip the POC, you look to go to the value area high. But to be quite honest, because of this high volume node, I do think that if we flip that level 2 support and we're able to break out there, it could be good news for new all-time highs. Now, this doesn't mean bull run by tomorrow, but it's a huge level, and we're getting very, very close, and we've been waiting for so long, so I want everybody to be aware of this level. We're here, and we have to pay attention, right? So hopefully that kind of puts it into perspective, because I know we've been looking at the POC golden pocket very, very often, right? But I just kind of wanted to show you guys it's not just that, right? It is all that confluence we have up there. Let's hide that. Let's hide this, right? You have all those other key levels, right? Take off the fib, right? You still have all that resistance and the high volume node, huge, huge level. And again, if we're going to put that lower high in, this could be a place to do it. Now, if we did put in a lower high, do I think this is the bear market? This is a difficult spot, guys, and we've talked about this, guys. If we come up here, it's going to be a really, really difficult decision because, if we do get the rejection, right, and we start to, like, really break down, and we do put in a lower low, I'll be honest, guys, right, like, and again, like, we talk about this almost every day, but we could still come down, right? Like, I still would not be necessarily calling for a bear market. And again, we'll be looking at that high time frame money flow. We'll have to gauge kind of the reaction we get off that level. But, we could still potentially, right? Like, imagine this. Imagine how brutal this would be. You get the move up, right? Everyone's super bullish, right? We hit into the key level of resistance, and then we get the massive drop down. This still necessary, depending on the money flow. If we get a weekly money flow crossover, that's a really big bearish sign in my opinion, right? I show this all the time. Weekly money flow crossovers typically are the start of a bear market. And I'm talking about like a big bear market. Doesn't mean that we can't see our first significant money flow fake out on the weekly, but we don't typically see that, right? When the money flow on the weekly crosses into the red, it is usually indicative of a ton more downside. And I'm not going to go back and show it because I do it so often. But if you have Market Cypher, go on the weekly and check those money flow crossovers. So yeah, we're approaching decision time here, guys. And it is going to be really, really hard because at this point, right, because our money flow on the daily has not crossed over into the green yet, right? It's like we come up here, we test this level. If that money flow starts crossing over into the green and then we get a little cool off, you could be looking at this as a potential higher low and higher high. Because if you look at the money flow on the daily, you'd be saying, well, hey, if we pull back here and the money flows in the green, we would be looking at that through the lens of like, hey, we could make higher lows and higher highs, right? For potential all-time highs to come. But we got to flip this level of resistance. We got to get above 96 to 97K, right? 97K is the psychological level. And then like this daily is not as significant as all those naked points of controls. So like really, again, that key level of resistance does more accurately sit between, in my opinion, what I'm looking at, $95,556 and 97K, right? Get above that could open up the door to new all-time highs. And the difficulty of this situation is because of this money flow, right? Because again, let's walk through this like it's happening in real time, right? We get in here, we get bearish confirmations, we take a short, right? Maybe we get the daily red dot or something like that, and we're pulling back, but the money flow is still coming up. We're thinking higher low, higher high, right? Based off the daily. But at that point, the weekly money flow is still probably going to be in a very similar situation where it's kind of potentially putting in a lower high. Very, very difficult situation here, guys. And I knew this was going to come, and I knew it was going to be difficult, and we're just here. So we got to face the music here and hopefully break above that level. Absolutely critical decision moment, right? And, hopefully, what would be nice is if we just rip through it, right? And then at that point, you could just come down, maybe we retrace, flip it to support, and then you hit the all-time highs. So we'll see what happens here, but just be aware. High volume node, many levels of key, high time frame resistance, golden pocket, high probability area to put a lower high in, right? So, this is going to be brutal. It's going to be, really, really sketchy situation. So, yeah. Overall, daily money flow still looking good here, right? Daily money flow still looking good. 16-hour money flow coming back up into the green. That's nice. And I'm gonna bring up the local levels. I'll jump over to the other chart in just a second. But yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. Let's check the poll here. 97K incoming. 42% of people think we're gonna hit it. And then let's see. 34% say we're going back down for sure. Okay, I like it. And then Bitcoin will range between 93 and 94K for weeks. That is my least favorite scenario. I hope that is not the case. That would be absolutely brutal, especially for the content. But let's see here. Let her rip. Shout out to Jay Gilly. Welcome in, bro. Good to see you in here. And here's the thing, right? Like, if we do get another, like, let's assume this is going to be another macro lower high, right? And we're going to get another move down, maybe to our next major key levels, right? At $72,000 to $70,000, right? This is still an area where you could put a higher low in and continue to the upside. This was our first 786 that we had an opportunity to put a higher low in at, but technically, the full golden pocket retracement from the swing low to the swing high, the golden pocket does sit between 72 and 70,000, right? And at that point, right, you're kind of sitting there thinking, man, this is, hopefully we bounce here, right? Because once you start breaking into this range, then you're on your way to the 786, and at that point, you're already down 46% from the all-time high. But at the end of the day, we've seen 55% corrections in bull markets, like super, super difficult situation. I will say, guys, I've said this before, this is probably one of the most difficult cycles I've ever been a part of. Just because we have all the macroeconomic stuff, there's just tons of stuff like muddying up what is going to happen. But the charts have been so good to us. Again, just remember, everyone gets bearish. The TA says bounce. We bounce, right? And it could be the same thing here. If everyone gets bullish, hopefully we just are bullish and we rip. But if we get the bigger cool off, this is where everyone gives up. And if you are one of those people, right? If you are out there and you were thinking this was the bear market, and again, everyone has to make their own trading decisions, right? You have to have your own plan. You can't just listen to some crazy person on YouTube that screams at a camera like me. But if you're one of those people that was certain that this is the bear market, right? this is an opportunity, and I'm not telling you to do this at all, right? I genuinely don't think the bear market is here. I just don't think we're really at that point in the cycle yet. Could that be wrong? Absolutely. But, if you're one of those people that thought, oh my God, I'm down 90% on everything, it's the bear market. I wish I could just get out at break even, or I could just get out at a smaller loss. Like, this would be your opportunity, right? You're up in that golden pocket. We've talked about this scenario, and I've talked about, if you think this is the bear market, I would not be selling at the bottom. I would at least wait for some kind of a retracement. So this is, kind of exciting, right? Because it might be our ticket out of here, but it also might be, right, another big rip to the downside. And then this would just be like, if this happens, right, and let's assume the bull market is not over, right? We're just going down for that golden pocket retracement before new all-time highs. This is 100% possible. I've drawn this scenario 100 times. This is possible, right? We don't know if we're going to do this. We don't know if we're going to do this or that, right? Like, it's very, very difficult to call. But again, with that daily money flow, we'll see what happens. We'll see the reaction that we get at this $97,000 level. And again, it does start at about $95,557. And I'm going to show you locally what I'm looking at right now. Let's see. Shout out to Tales of Mystery. Oh no, Stream Deck is frozen. I can't hit the button, but shout out to Tales of Mystery. Oh, there it is. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I appreciate you. We said, Frankie, I feel like garbage. Right now, I FOMO'd on yesterday's pump and blew 75% of my account and profits. I can't believe I'm still making that mistake. Shout out to Tales of Mystery. You are not alone, bro. And I always say this. Technical analysis and trading are two completely different skills. They go together, but they are two completely different skills, right? And I know the FOMO is brutal. The FOMO is oftentimes, for me personally, not really FOMO. I guess FOMO is just greed. But the greed is sometimes the worst emotion to deal with when you're investing or just trading. So yeah, man, you got to learn from the mistakes, and you're not alone, bro. I make mistakes sometimes too, and I definitely made them a whole lot when I first started trading, and I had to make that mistake that you just made 100 times before I was able to fix it, right? I just had to feel the pain, try to fix it, and then I would feel the FOMO, and I'd be like, oh, my God, right? And I would feel it again. I'd feel it again. I'd feel it again. I would keep chasing the FOMO. And then eventually, I honestly just got bored of the outcome, right? I was just like, I keep doing the same thing. Tony said this to me the other day. It's like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, right? And at one point, I just had this realization is where I was just like, I'm just always doing the wrong thing, right? Like, let me just try to do the opposite of what I've been doing, and maybe I'll be better. And it does take a lot of time. I always say missed opportunities are none of your business, right? That's how you wind up chasing every single up and down in the market, and that's the fastest way to chew up your account. So, Tales of Mystery, we're here for you, bro. And don't feel too bad. One thing I would not do is don't just jump right back into your trading account and start trading like crazy to try to get it back. That is really, really bad. You probably have a high emotional state right now. Take a break from the charts. Sit back. It does not matter if Bitcoin goes to $200,000, right? You could always catch another move. I would not recommend jumping right back in. And sometimes that could be the worst thing, right? Because you're just revenge trading, right? Or as CryptoFace says, kamikaze trading. Both very good words. But yeah, shout out to Tales of Mystery, bro. I'm so sorry to hear about that, man. But just know you're not alone. And this is very common, right? Like, you're not like, oh, I'm the worst trader ever. Like that is not the case. This is part of the learning process. And it's those who are able to stick through it. Journal it, bro. Journal it. Journal what you felt. Journal why you made the decision that you made and what the outcome was and what you could do to fix it. And then all you could do is just move forward and learn from that mistake and just try to do better next time. So shout out to Tales of Mystery, bro. We're here for you. 130K in June, lads. Shout out to Lars. Well, hey, if we flip that 97K level, I would not be against that. Let's see. 160K top. Shout out to Crypto Monkey, says 160K top is reasonable. I wouldn't say that that's too unreasonable if we, wind up going back up. I do have other local targets, right? If we come up to 130K, 137K, and things look like garbage, that is what it is. I'm not going to expect 100. What I would not recommend is picking a number in your head and saying 150K is my number. That's where I'm going to sell. This is the number one thing that when people get into crypto, they fall into, right? They get a price target, whether it's from your analysis. You could come up with the targets, right? Like we always use the Fibonacci extensions. Bada boom, right? And I can actually just pull these up real quick, right? You have the 118 all the way up to 131K. We also have the 137K level, which I will talk about in just a minute. But 155K, if we get above 131K and it still looks good, the next target would be this, right? But you don't want to be waiting for a number, right? If you're picking, I wouldn't say you could have that idea well, hey, that'd be nice if we can get up to 167. I 100% agree, right? And it is a Fibonacci level, 167K. But it's not just hold on until that target is hit, right? Because if you come up to these levels, right, and we start topping out and things look pretty bad, or at least, you're getting massive bearish divergences or something like that, it might not be very likely that you're going to rip up to those levels, and you don't want to be stuck holding the bag. That's what everybody did with 100K last cycle, right? Everyone was calling for 100K, whether it was based off technical levels, right? And, hey, if you pull some targets and you see a $100,000 target, right, I'll just pull this like this is not the right fib. It's just not pulled to the wick. But come on. There we go, right? So like here it's like, oh, we have a $108,000 target. This is crazy. We could get up there, right? But like what happens? You come up into these levels, you get massive bearish confirmations, and then, what happens? You get the big bear market to come in. So just try not to hold on to hope. That beautiful opium. Don't be smoking too much opium, but you can look at those upper targets. But for me personally, it's a level-to-level game, right? So we just wait to come up to those targets, right? If it still looks good, we can be like, okay, cool. I will be taking profits along the way either way, right? I'm taking small profits at each target. But yeah, if it looks good, 100, we do have those, even a 200K, have some Fibonacci targets up there as well. And if we pull up the weekly chart, I'll pull the full fib here from the all-time high in 2021 to the low, right? This was our first target. We talk about this. We've talked about this in the past. This was my first target for this bull run between 81. Really, I kind of take this one off because it was just, I don't really like looking at the three levels. So I usually take that one off. I'll just leave it on for now. But yeah, between about 91 and 102K was that first kind of zone that I was looking at, target number one on my cycle chart. I've made videos about this. I have a chart that's all labeled. Target one was right here, right? And then target two, 137 to 156K, right? This would be the next kind of major target. If we break the all-time high, this could be the next area to come up to, just like it did here, right? Like, hey, guys, if we break the all-time high, where's the next place we're going to expect turbulence? It's going to be up in this fib zone, right? So if we break the all-time high again, could come up to that fib zone. If things look super bearish up here, I would not be looking for 200K. If it looks good, well, hey, the next target could be 209K, right? So yeah, definitely more of a level trader. That's me personally, right? Trust me, I've definitely bought stuff and held it for some arbitrary, like in 2016, right? Like there's times where, I've gone through all this, right? I've held on for arbitrary price targets, right? And just learn from my mistakes, please, for the love of God. But yeah, not impossible. Definitely not impossible, but we'll have to see what happens at those levels. Shout out for FOMO. Shout out to Ozgun. Let's go, baby. Let's go. We got Jesse in the chat. Welcome in, bro. Hopium becomes copium if you're lacking. Yeah, and I cannot push this anymore. If you felt the pain of being down here, remember that pain. Remember that pain when you're feeling the FOMO. So many people here, and I see it, right? Because the Mafia comes in the chat and they're like, man, I wish I didn't FOMO in at the top, right? There was a lot of people feeling pain on this drop down. Oh my God, this is the bear market because a lot of people bought the top. So if you did that, that's totally fine, right? Like, I've bought tops before too. But remember that feeling, right? If you feel that feeling again, you have to fight it. You have to fight it, right? The time to buy is when price is down, right? Not when it's skyrocketing. So there you go. And I know it sounds simple, and it is simple, but it is not easy because when those emotions come in, you get on that mouse and your emotions control your fingers, not your brain. So you got to try to work that in there and make your brain control your hands, not your emotions. Very, very difficult to do, easy to say. Let's see. Frankie the Fish. Shout out to Jack. What is going on, bro? Welcome in. Funny enough, actually I have a hat that says Frankie the Fish on it, which is really weird. But anyway, let's see. I'm a bit late today. Sorry. Shout out to Jesse. No problem, bro. We got your late pass. Not a big deal. Welcome in. We're just happy that you're here. Let's see. Buy before Frankie takes his coffee break. Yes. If I luckily I have my coffee here, right? But yeah, if I go for a coffee break, definitely, probably sell your bag. Anyway, let's see. 4-hour stream tonight. I'm off today. Shout out to Servando Estrada. Let's go, baby. 4-hour stream. Let's get it. But okay, that's kind of the current state right now, guys. We went over the high time frame levels. The decision moment is here. And we're going to break down the local time frames right now. I will be looking for shorts up here, but hey, maybe we cool off, break above it, flip it to support. This would be extremely bullish for Bitcoin, in my opinion. That would call for new all-time highs. That's what we want, right? Okay, so let's come on down to the lower time frames and talk about kind of what we have sitting here locally, right? So we'll pull up the upper range. Now, as you guys know, we have been looking for price to get, target number 1 was 86K. We hit that. Target number 2, 88K. We hit that. Target number 3, 91 to 92K. We hit that. And then yesterday, live on stream, we came all the way up to about 94K. And then we wiggled around a little bit up here. And we are now above our doorway to higher prices, guys. Once we stay above this level, this is where the POC starts to act for as a magnet for price, right into that confluent zone of resistance around 96 or 95, 556, all the way up to 97K. So, locally, this doesn't look that bad, right? Like, especially when you're looking at the daily time frame, right? Daily money flow coming up, VWAP obviously coming down, so you have to expect little ebbs and flows. We could see a situation where we cool off, flip that value area low to support, right? Maybe we come back down, test it one more time. If we're able to hold above that, maybe that's where we go up to that $96,000 to $97,000 level. And then if we do whether we come up or down first, right, that's going to kind of change my plan a little bit. But if we do come back up here, let me get rid of this box real quick. I'm going to pull up the weekly naked points of controls. Actually, daily naked points of controls. I'm going to get these tapped daily naked points of controls out of the way. These are tapped, so I'm just going to go ahead and hide those for now, right? But right now, I would say the next key level I'm watching is this daily naked point of control, $95,557. Now, if we come down to a little bit of a lower time frame, like the 1 hour, as we bing bong around here, right, we have the anchored VWAP. We also have a golden pocket sitting here. This is what we were watching earlier today, right? From the low to the high, right? This little like higher low here at the start of the impulse, all the way up to the high. Golden pocket sitting here at about almost $90,000. We just wicked into that earlier today for a little bounce to the upside. But I will say this, guys. If we come back into this, or not back, but if we come up into this $95,557 daily naked point of control, it does look, right? And again, it's going to kind of depend here, but if we do come up, it does look like we might be able to form some medium time frame bearish divergences, which might be, right, if we come up here, that would be kind of one of the first signs that say, hey, as we push into that macro resistance level, this could be one of the first things that we look at to see that there's a little bit of weakness here for at least a little bit of a pullback, right? Whether that is going to be a higher low, right, to come down, put in a higher low and a higher high, wherever that winds up being, or if it's going to be the macro lower high for a massive drop down to new lows, that is going to be kind of the hard thing to gauge. But at this point, once we take that short, again, we could just simply, let's say we get in there, we see the bearish divergences, other bearish confirmations, we see the triggers to enter the trade. That is where we can just get in, right? And then we can take profits along the way. Maybe we come down to the value area low. This is a huge level of support, especially if we don't push down in here, guys. We do have a daily naked point of control, right in confluence. Well, this fib would move. We'd have to pull it up a little bit. But daily naked point of control in confluence with that value area low. This would now be key support. As soon as you're inside the volume profile, the value area low is key support, right? And we're going to talk about some lower levels as well. But that's just generally the first key level of support once you get inside a volume profile. It's obviously going to be the value area high. You get in, you flip it to support, and then that is your first opportunity to look for a bigger bounce, right? And depending on what market cipher looks like down here, we can identify like the likelihood of getting that bigger bounce. But once we come down there, you can start locking in some profits potentially. Move your stop loss to break even. And then if we are going to break off into new all-time highs, hey, you got a nice little day trade, a little, maybe a couple day swing trade, or maybe it's a scalp, right? Maybe get a mega dump and a fast bounce, whatever it winds up being. If you do wind up holding support and everything comes back up and we're able to flip this level, you stop out of that short. In profit, you make some money, right? You lose the trade technically because you stopped out, but you actually make some money, and then you can look to potentially take some new longs down here, as that is your first major level of support. So there you go. Hey, yo, shout out to Jason Casper. What is going on, bro? Said, let's get Bitcoin. Shout out, or let's go Bitcoin. Shout out to Jason Casper. What is going on, bro? Thank you so much for the super chat. Bro, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think it's a giant trap? Do you think we're going to reject the golden pocket? Let me pull that chart back up. You think we're rejecting? I mean, dude, do you think we're going to reject this? How do you feel about the weekly money flow, bro? What do you think about that? You think it's going to fake out? Because I don't know. Like this, I don't know, man. I personally, I don't know. As long as there's no crazy news, I do think we're seeing new all-time highs, right? As long as we can get above there. And, that's decision time. But what do you think, Jason? Let me know, bro. Think it's a trap for lower and bear market? You think it's a trap for a lower low and then all-time highs? Or you think we're just going to break this and go? Let me know. Because all it takes, guys, remember this. All it takes is one news event in either direction, bullish or bearish, and everything moves very quickly. This market changes super fast, right? It wasn't long ago down here where everyone was worried about the bear market, right? April 9th. It is now April 23rd. Oh, well, my birthday's this weekend. Yo, it's my birthday this weekend. I keep forgetting that. But yeah, and here we are, not too long later, and it's like, everyone's super bullish, and hopefully for good reason, right? Hopefully we can just get that break. But huge decision-making moment. So shout out to Jason, bro. What do you think? Let me know. If you're still in there. Oh, there he is. I think all-time high with mega bear div. Oh, yeah. Kind of like what we just drew out, maybe. Yeah, we just pulled up those macro targets here. Oh, where is it? Bada boom. Something like this, maybe. 2021 to the bear market lows. Come up to this next fib zone. 137, 156. Massive bear divs. Oh, man. Oh, God. I hope so. That would be the best case, right? That would be like, hey, bull run back on. This also would give time. For Bitcoin dominance. Let's see, right? That would also give time for Bitcoin. Actually, let me come over here. This would also give time for Bitcoin dominance to maybe get a big dump, and then maybe we actually see altcoin season, the real altcoin season, not all this fake out garbage. We want the real alt season, not these little dips. We want alt season, mega dumps on Bitcoin dominance. So shout out to Jason, bro. I hope so. Let's do it, bro. I'm rooting for it. I think, and bro, if it starts getting sus, right? Maybe we just 100x long it. I think we should do that. We should definitely try to do that. Like you said, on a weekend, low volume, jump in, both communities together, 100x leverage, full port, send it up. That would go down in history. Shout out to Jason Casper. I appreciate you for being here, bro. Shout out to Wolverine. Thank you for the super chat. Oh, wait, hang on one second. Yo, what is with this stream deck? I hate stream decks. Shout out to Tony D. Thank you for the super chat. Says hidden bull div forming on the 15-minute potentially. I'm actually going to jump down to the lower time frames in a second because we didn't look at market cipher B yet. We looked at the potential of coming up to 90. What was it? Or is it 95.556? Right to the daily naked point of control. But I'm going to show you what I'm looking at on market cipher B to potentially look for that to happen. But shout out to Wolverine. Let me just get this out of the way real quick. Said, hey Frankie, can you take a look at Morpho? I will try to take a look at Morpho. We're going to take a look at the altcoins in just a second. I'm trying to stay on the mic here. But yeah, shout out to the Wolverine. I will try to take a look at Morpho for you. Thank you for the super chat. Quick reminder, guys. Super chats do not guarantee that we're going to get to your altcoin, but we will try. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Yeah, MEXC lets you do 500x. That's crazy. All right, we're going to MEXC, guys, and we're gonna go 500x. Yeah, that's insane, man. Yeah, Operation Ghost Candle. Shout out to Creighton C. Yeah, that was Operation Ghost Candle. It would be crazy if we really did move price. That would be like the most epic thing ever. Frankie can hit those musical notes. Shout out to Diaz. Yeah, guys, actually, secret talent. I can sing. I'm just kidding. I definitely cannot sing. But thanks, I appreciate that. I'll take it. But let's continue on here, guys, because I want to take a look at market cipher B here. So yeah, just to kind of point that out, if we do come up, there is an opportunity to put in some of those bear divs. Now let's take a look at market cipher really quickly because locally, turn off those MPOCs. And I will talk about the lower levels as well in case we do get a bigger correction here. But let's take a look. Why does this POC keep disappearing? Let me fix that real quick. Bada boom, right? So looking at market cipher B. Daily VWAP has been above the zero line for quite some time, right? This thing has just been coming down, big support, and now we're kind of just like angled off here. This is, again, just like yesterday and the day before, right? The next bigger correction, in my opinion, is likely to, going to come off that daily red dot. But if we look locally here on the lower time frames, that 80-minute money flow is big boy fat. Look at that 80-minute money flow, still thick in the green here. And let me come on down here. Let's take a look at some of these other time frames, right? 2-hour and 3-hour green dots. These are attempting to print. We keep getting rejected at the zero line. 3-hour green dot trying to come up here just a little bit. 4-hour VWAP attempting to come up as well. Money flow coming to the upside. So yeah, if we could get the 4-hour green dot, the 3-hour green dot, and that 2-hour green dot, that might be, me personally, right, this is what I'm waiting for, right? If we come deeper into this zone to the value area low, we will be looking for scalp longs, as this could be the flip of support before coming up to the POC, right? And then if we come up first, right, we're looking at that 90, let me pull up the daily naked point of control, right, 95,557. That's going to be that first area that I'm interested in looking for the short at. And again, if we get this green dot, say on the 2-hour, that does give us an opportunity to start forming medium time frame bearish divergences, higher highs, lower highs on the 2-hour, on the 1-hour, come on, on the 80-minute. And potentially, it's not as clean on like the 3-hour. It really depends on what happens first here, right? If we continue down again, right, and this momentum wave comes down a little bit more, VWAP rejects, right? I will be looking for those medium time frame bearish divergences into this key level. That would be a good sign, in my opinion. Not necessarily entering on a 2-hour bear div, right? That's not what I use as my entry trigger, but could be, you know, a good thing to look at to kind of say, hey, maybe we are going to get a little bit of a cool off. Massive, massive resistance. And again, there's a ton of backup resistance here too, in case it's like a big push and then we come down and close the candle below. You know, a lot of resistance up there. And it does look like Market Cipher B may be able to start printing those bearish divergences. So, you know, when we look to front run those bearish divergences, sometimes it helps us front run the move to the upside, right? Because if we're going to print a bear div here, we need the higher high, right? So that's kind of what I'm looking at that key level of resistance. So if we come down first, let me hide these daily nakeds, bada boom, right? So we come down first, value area low. This golden pocket's already tapped, so that's not as significant at this point. But if we come down first, value area low, 786, daily naked point of control, could hold that as support to come back up to the 95,557. And if we come up first, obviously, you hit resistance first, and you still could get those bearish divergences. So that's kind of what I'm looking at locally here. The one thing I really don't love here as far as like another massive move up just yet, I really do feel this daily is super overbought, right? Now, momentum waves, RSIs can remain overbought for some time. Like a lot of people think like as soon as you're overbought, that's time to go down. But you can remain overbought, right? And you can even go higher. So, but this is looking a little overbought, right? So, you know, again, I am just waiting for the either the lower level or the higher level for the next trades. But the I would like to see that red dot, you know, bring us down a little bit, cool us off. Whether we come up first or not is kind of the thing I'm waiting for. But I have my alert set, and we'll see what happens as we dive into those levels. And I do want to cover some of these lower levels as well, guys, because, again, if we lose this value area low, I'll kind of explain this a little bit, right? Like the reason – this is the first level that I'm looking at, right? Because, again – based off the volume profile, any volume profile you're looking at, on the 5-minute, on the 2-minute, on the 3-day, on the weekly, on the daily, does not matter. Once you get in, right, we all know this. We talk about it every day. Flip that value area low to support. That's nice, right? You get acceptance into the range, and then you go up towards that POC zone, the massive decision-making zone. But if we lose it, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's all over, right? Especially if we don't hit the key golden pocket first, right? So if we do come down, we lose this range. There are some key levels down below that I want to go over with you guys that could be good areas to look for bounces at in case we get the bigger retracement, which would be nice if anybody is looking for new long positions. But let me just jump into chat really, really quickly. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's see. What about liquidity? Okay, yeah, let's take a look at the liquidation heat maps really quickly because the heat maps are, in my opinion, very, very clear. And actually, I'm going to bring them up in a second because it has to do with the lower levels of support. And we'll take a look at that liquidity, guys, because the liquidity above the $88,000 highs is what we were looking at to potentially give us that big push up into the $91,000 value area low. We saw that happen perfectly. We even had the box drawn here saying, hey, if we break into this box, we may be able to see price start to move pretty quickly, right? And literally, tap our head, tap our head, tap our head, boom, liquidations come in, right? Let's see. Shout out to Mr. Wolf said, bro, you're a mountain goat when it comes to BTCTA. Why are your likes low? Hey, shout out to Mr. Wolf. Smash that like button if you have not already, guys. I don't know what we're at, but let's run it up to 550 if it's not there already. I assume it's not. In the next 4 minutes. Timer going. 4 minutes. Let's get 550 likes. I think we can do it. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Says liquidity. Let's go, baby. Shout out to you, man. Let's see. Just make sure I'm not missing anything. Shout out to Creighton C. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says Operation Ghost Candle. Short the corn at all-time highs. Let's go, baby. Let's go. We'll push it into the resistance so we can then short it. We're just market makers at this point. New reality show by Frankie Candles called Liquidated. There's some interesting concepts you could go with that. What would that be about? What would that be about? Shout out to Stupid Bitcoin. Let me know. Give me some ideas. Shout out to Crypto Billy in the chat. What is going on, bro? Shout out to Jose says, following the stock market and crypto charts makes me feel like we have gone through several years of turmoil in the past 3 months. Yeah, shout out to Jose. It is definitely a Yeah, I'm surprised my hair isn't turning gray. 500x long, or you're missing out. Just snipe the tops and the bottoms. Shout out to Flat Smack. Yeah, with 500x leverage, you would need that's crazy. You don't need that much money to make a huge position size. So yeah, you just get those tiny little moves. You get some nice profit. Let's see. Okay, so shout out to Roboball said you're the best, Frankie. Shout out to you, bro. I appreciate you. Mr. T Crypto said smash that like button. Well, he said hit the likes, people. Smash it 3 times. Shout out to Big Huggies. I appreciate you. Smash that like button. Should we use I never use this, guys. I'm just gonna start putting this on a timer. Just click it every 5 seconds. Frankie's my market maker. Shout out to Brian Varney. I'll be your market maker. Let's go. When BTC Moon. Shout out to Roboballs. Bitcoin Moon. When we flip. This key level of resistance to support. That is when Bitcoin Moon, in my opinion, right? It's not a guarantee, right? You could come up and then melt right back through it. But for the most part, you break above it, flip that POC to support, right? And that's kind of a big thing. The visible range volume profile and the POC is a big reason that I'm looking at that, right? Where is it? VPVR, right? Flip that high volume node, right? And these high volume nodes do give you the reactions, right? Like you come down, right? If we were to come down to this high volume node, you would probably get a bounce off of it. You'd probably bounce off that one, right? But once you get above it and flip it to support, it becomes the floor, and then you get the big breakout, right? Or hopefully you get the big breakout, but you would at least get support and another move to the upside. And that's kind of what I would look at. Flipping that POC in all this confluent resistance, that would be Bitcoin Moon, in my opinion. Shout out to Jack said, put an alarm again. I don't think we still have a minute and 44 seconds on the clock, but I will reset it if we don't hit 550 likes. Smash that dang like button, guys. I'm gonna click it again. But shout out to Jack. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I appreciate you. Smash that like button for our boy Jack. Okay, so let's continue on here. I do want to talk about those lower levels of support and the liquidation heat maps, guys, because these are very, very helpful. So this is the 1-week liquidation chart, right? And the next significant areas of liquidity based off this chart are sitting at $86,300. Let's come back over to the chart. $86,300, right? So pretty much right below these lows, right? So you have, not only do you have the liquidity sitting down there, but let's pull and see where our Fibonacci retracements bring us from the lows to the highs. Right, so that full Fibonacci retracement brings us just below these lows, which, again, let's take a look at this, right? Lower levels of liquidity, starting at $83,900, right? $83,900, right? So maybe if we do come down, this is the full golden pocket retracement from the swing low to the high. That's if the high is here, right? If we go up first, we're going to have to move that retracement level, right? If we come all the way up to, say, 95 to 96K, it's going to move up slightly, right? And either way, it is confluent with this daily naked point of control, right? So this is going to be a key level in my opinion, right? This starts at 82,000, call it 83K pretty much, right? Just below these lows at about 83K. So, there's the alarm, baby. Let's go. I'm going to reset it 4 minutes and 44 seconds. Let's get 444 likes. Let's go, baby. But right here, 84.3 all the way down to about 82,687, right? Where's 82.86? Yeah, so 82. So, yeah, I mean, it's just right all down here, that liquidity is sitting down, right? So if we do get a loss of this range and we get the bigger drop down, there's no guarantee we're going to come down there, right? And this is a level we've been watching. We were watching this as we were consolidating up here. If we had swept that liquidity there, that would have been really nice. But we didn't do it. So that liquidity is still sitting there, not only just based off the candlesticks, but looking at the actual heat map. This is honestly a bigger level of liquidity than the upper level, right? So that's zone number 1, right? That's where your liquidity is between 83.9 and about 82.7, right? Down here, somewhat confluent with the golden pocket daily naked point of control. And then if we look at the upper level here, and let's pull a little bit of a different fib here. We're going to pull a little bit more. We'll put it on the higher low, right? This is also somewhat confluent with this consolidation. The POC of the range is if I had to guess, right, probably right smack dab in the middle of that golden pocket. There it is, baby. There it is. So this is sitting at golden pocket daily naked point of control at about 84,480. Yeah, I would like to come sweep all of this, to be honest. But this liquidity does start at about 86.3 all the way down to about 85.5, which does bring you up to this value area high, right? So let's see. I would pull this. And again, this is going to change, right? If we come up first, we're going to have to move that retracement, right? So the levels could change very slightly. So if we pull it from where we got impulsive right here, that brings the golden pocket to about 88K. No real confluence there. But you do have the daily naked point of control. 84.5, just about. Yeah, not really confluent there yet. That's honestly a little bit more confluent with this liquidity. So those are the next, and we could pull up a higher time frame here as well. Let's pull up the 2 week. The 2 weeks probably going to be the same as what we looked at yesterday, which is, oh no, 80. Yeah, I mean, we do have that liquidity sitting down below this range. Again, this is this is, yeah, like 83K and a little bit lower. I mean, this is, yeah, that's the level that I've been watching, right? Like, this is the level we were watching up here. I really wanted to sweep that liquidity before going, but we didn't need to. But if we do come back down, that liquidity is still sitting there. And again, it is confluent with that golden pocket, right? And this would be a full golden pocket retracement, right? This would be the full golden pocket, and then maybe we can come back up, right? And this would kind of also give you a similar situation to what we saw in August, where we put in the high time frame bull divs. Whoops. We put in the high time frame bull divs, and then we actually put in a higher low, right? So you put in the, say, the 2-day bullish divergence. We looked at this yesterday. 2-day bull div, right? You come up, you start to break back down. Where do you get your support? Right on your golden pocket 786, right? So definitely a sound place, in my opinion, to look for support. And it would just, we don't know how this bottom is going to form, right? Like, I mean, ideally, we just stay inside the profile and break out here, right? That would be nice. But with the daily red dot printing and stuff, like, we do have to keep in mind that we could get a bigger retracement. And these would be the key levels I'd be looking at, right? So we have our local value area low down here. I'll mark this out. Kind of look at this as a little bit of a range. Whoops. Label this as neutral. Got your value area high. Got your POC. I'm going to leave that daily naked point of control there. I won't even mark out the POC. So yeah, it's also the value area low of your range, right? So like, if you did come down here, this would be like a kind of a nice context here. I shouldn't have pulled that on such a high time frame. Yeah, I should have pulled that on a lower time frame. I actually don't hate it pulled on the higher time frame though. Where did I pull that? Did I pull that on the 2-day all right, so let me move that back here. Bada boom. Bada bing. Right? So if we did come back down, right? Let's say we lose the value area low. And this would probably take some time, right? Get back into the range, come down to the low, deviate below the low. There's that alarm, baby. 444. Did we get 444 likes? If you did not smash it yet, smash it. But if we get that back down below these lows, deviate below that local volume profile, sweep the liquidity, hit that daily naked point of control golden pocket, maybe we get the bigger move up from there. But we're kind of far away at this point. So, we'll probably be covering that as price comes down. Like, we'll have time to look at that level. But really here, just from a simple standpoint, looking at the full golden pocket 786 retracement, right? Come on down, golden pocket, boom. Again, similar to what happened in August. This would scare a lot of people, right? And yeah, we'll see what happens. What I would not really want to see, which is also not impossible, right? If we come up to our major level of resistance and then we come down and lose the range, that'd be a little bit more fishy in my opinion, but that's the key level, right? This does sit between $82,756 and $81,344, and then this daily naked point of control, the first one does sit at about $84,500, right? So those are, we looked at these yesterday as well. So those are the next key levels. And again, that's where the liquidity sits. Maybe we can come up to a little bit of a higher time frame. We'll pull up the 1 month. Shout out to Pennywise in the chat. Welcome in, bro. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. But yeah, man, no real insights there. Obviously, over above 100K as we were looking at yesterday. We do also have a lot of liquidity sitting up there. Let's take a look at the 3 month maybe. There we go, right? So, the more significant, like, high time frame liquidity sitting down here at about 68K, which is confluent with our much lower levels. I don't want to get too deep into this, right, because we're so far away at this point. If we have to bring it back up, we will. 68K does bring you down to your full macro golden pocket from the swing low on August 5th all the way up to the all-time high, right? So we got all this liquidity down here. Doesn't mean we have to take it, but if we did get the bigger breakdown, right, maybe that's what we see, right? We talked about how maybe this does wind up being a lower high, and if it's not going to be a bear market, right, we come down, sweep that liquidity, bounce off the golden pocket retracement, and then go into all-time highs. Hopefully, we could just turn it around right now. We can get some bullish news. Daily money flow continues us up. We break above 96K and 97K, and then we could just break out, right? And that is the hopeful, that is the bullish case, right? Like, that is the most bullish scenario, in my opinion. We could just break above, flip that level to support, but we have a clear line in the sand, right? Like, I know we're looking at a lot of levels today, but just don't overcomplicate it, right? We could just look at the volume profile, and if you don't even want to look at the volume profiles, just look at the, what is this? Hang on. Boom, boom, right? Just look at the volume profile, and if you don't want to look at that, right, I could even take this off the chart real quick. If you don't want to look at that, you could even just look at the visible range volume profile, right? That's the wall. You get above this, flip it to support. That's bullish in my opinion. Volume falls off to the upside. That could break you out. But if we get rejected, there's at least some kind of retracement that's probably going to follow, right? So, yeah, we'll just see if we push up to the 95.5 daily naked point of control first, or if we're going to come down and test the value area low first. Let's see. Let's see. Shout out to Ahmed, said, highly doubt you were bearish as well at 84. Bearish as well at 84, yes. I don't know exactly what you mean by bearish at 84K. Yeah, I mean, ever since we put in this daily bull div, this is, even before we even came down here, right, in the Discord, looking at this as high time frame key level of support, and what we were looking for, which we couldn't have seen it coming, right? Because it's just in general, when you come down to these macro key levels of support, what you oftentimes see are high time frame bullish divergences with daily money flow coming up. And that's exactly what we saw in the Discord. Actually, I might drop a tweet about that just to kind of show it, right? And again, everyone calls for bear market here, and I have to sit here and be like, it's so funny, right? Like, every time we pump, I have to be like, guys, might come down, and it's not the popular thing to say, right? And then when everyone's screaming bear market, I have to say, I don't think the cycle's over. And people are like, Frankie, you're saying that it's not the end of the bear market. It's not the bear market. Why are we keep going down? And it's like, we didn't hit key support yet, right? We hit that key support, bullish divergences. Ever since that happened, this is the retracement we've been looking for. Looking for that break of our larger term trend line for the retracement directly into the golden pocket, which is sitting right up at the levels that we were looking at. So there you go. Let's see. ETH is a scam. Shout out to Crypto Monkey. Oh my God. Oh God. Yeah, it's man. Shout out to ETH. We're gonna take a look at ETH in just a minute here, guys. Shout out to John Boy, said, just had a kid here at work, mentioned to someone else that he just keeps putting money into Bitcoin. I had to take my earpiece out. Yo, shout out to John Boy. Do you work at like a school or something? Good Lord. Ahmed says 84K before the current push. Let's take a look. 84K. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Pull up our current range, right? We just use the volume profiles. I mean, maybe like I would have loved, what I wanted to see here was a sweep of this liquidity, right? But this is why trading is very not even trading is very difficult. It's very difficult to like convey what I'm looking at, right? I am a trader, right? So it's very important that, like, if you hear me say I'm bullish or bearish, you have to keep in mind the context that we're talking about, right? So if we're sitting here, right, and I'm saying, hey, I want to get a sweep of this liquidity down here, and we're looking for a move down, say, like, on the 10-minute, right? We're like, hey, if we can break this POC, go sweep that liquidity, that would be nice, right? That would be bearish because you're expecting a move down. But overall, right, inside this volume profile, you flip the low to support, go to the POC, hold above the POC eventually, and the POC acts as a magnet, right? So you could slip it, you could slip it, you could slip it, sweep the liquidity. At that point, right, you're still going to be looking for that full fill of the range up to the value area high. And shout out to Tony D. Yo, Tony, we should make a chart where we put the thumbnails on the chart like our thumbnails, 88K incoming. Like this was a huge target that we were waiting for ever since we were able to reclaim this value area low. And it's not the fact that like I have some crystal ball or something, which I definitely don't have, but it's just based off the volume profiles, right? So we could be bearish, right, for a move down, but like context is very, very important, right? I wasn't even bearish on the long term, and if you watch the show at all, you'll know this, right? Like I just repeat it like I'm beating the dead horse here, but down here, is it the bear market? Is it the bear market? Not in my opinion, right? Like it never was in my opinion. And we even talked about before we dropped out of here, right? Before we lost this range, we talked about how we could go to $75,000 to $70,000. I mentioned this in the 2025 Bitcoin prediction video as we were, I think, right here. It was in January, I believe, that I made that video, somewhere up here, saying, hey, things look good, right? Here's the bullish case, here's the bearish case, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get the bigger retracement into between 80 and 75K to sweep out the liquidity and get a bounce off that high time frame Fibonacci retracement, right? And that would not make me think it's a bear market. I would be looking for a bounce, a higher low off that Fibonacci retracement, right? And we wound up getting that, right? As we come down here, is it the bear market? I don't know why I know altcoins were brutalized during this time, right? But on Bitcoin, was even down here undoubtedly in a bull market, right? This is a macro bullish trend. Until you lose these highs significantly with high time frame candle closures below and we really start breaking that macro structure, that's where you could say this is not good, right? But until you break that, we didn't even come down and test those highs, right? So there's no reason to be bearish, in my opinion, at least on Bitcoin, right? The altcoins obviously got destroyed, but that's a totally different story. So yeah, let's see. Eat to zero before ADA. Oh my God. Time to schlong it, baby. Shout out to Crypto Monkey. Let's go, baby. Chatmaster said, I'm looking for a short. Closed along. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Shout out to Ahmed said, I see. Thanks for the explanation. Yeah, very important. I am a trader, right? So, like, when I say I'm bearish, you got to make sure that, like, we're not on, like, a low time frame, right? Because I could be bearish and bullish at the same exact time, right? I could be bearish on the 15-minute for a move down to the bottom of the range, but then zoom into the daily, right? And you're like, oh, my God, I'm bullish, right? Very important to realize, especially when you have money flow coming up. I really wish that I had the post in Discord. Whatever, I'll tweet it. Follow me on Twitter, Frankie Candles. If you want to see that, I'll drop the Discord post. But yeah, it's just, and then this is like not even like some secret TA trick that I knew, right? Like it's not, there's nothing really special here, right? It's just like a Fibonacci retracement, right? And you might ask yourself, I think a lot of people ask this question, like, how do you know where to pull your fibs from? And when you're pulling your fib, it's really difficult to know where to pull them from, right? But for me personally, I like to pull them from where price gets impulsive, right? So price got impulsive here because you might be thinking to yourself, well, Frankie, why weren't you just waiting for the full golden pocket retracement? Well, first off, if we were waiting for that, we would have never got there, right? And you'd never know if you're going to go for that full retracement or not, or if you're going to bounce off of a local retracement. And to pull the local retracement, we could say, well, hey, I'm going to pull it from this low. And why is this a significant low? Well, because that's where price got impulsive, specifically to break the highs, the previous highs. That's the breakage structure. That's where you got impulsive. So that's where I pulled that first fib from, just to kind of explain that. So no like secret indicator, no secret strategy that no one knows, right? Just simple Fibonacci retracements and bullish divergences into those levels, right? Very, very simple. And we've drawn this on the chart 100 times, right? And it doesn't mean that just because we were expecting this, that it had to happen. It's an if this. Trading is an if this, then that statement, right? TA is an if this, then that statement. It's never, I see this signal, we are definitely going to moon, right? It is always an if this, then that. Well, if we come down here and we get bullish divergences on the higher time frames, then we can look for a bigger push to the upside. But because money flow is in the red on the higher time frames, such as the 2-day, such as the 3-day money flow trending out here, right? If this continues to come down and look to cross over into the red, as you would look at that through the goggles of a lackluster retracement, lower highs and lower lows, right? If we had, now we have the daily money flow starting to cross up. So this is at least a shorter term, decent signal, right? If this money flow can cross over into the green locally, we can look for higher lows and higher highs, right? And then once we flip 97K, I'd feel pretty good about continuing up. But yeah, it's again nothing like really crazy here, right? I know we look at a lot. You have the volume profiles because like because when we're looking for the day trades and the scalps, right? You have to look at these local levels. If you want to catch this little short, you want to catch this little long, you want to catch that little short, you got to look at the local levels. But in general, higher time frame, Fibonacci retracements and bullish divergences. You don't even need money flow, even though money flow is goated. You could just use the RSI to find your bullish divergences, right? It's the same thing. Not the same thing, right? But you could still look for the bullish divergences on the RSI. Which you did have, right? There you go. Right? And even pulled to here. So there you go. Like, pretty simple. It's actually crazy, too, because... Yeah. Anyway, let's continue on. Shout out to Multi-Sig Dummy. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He said, Market Cipher is the crystal ball. If you know, you know. Shout out to Multi-Sig Dummy. Yes, absolutely. The money flow on Market Cipher B is like such a beautiful confirmation, right? Like, it is the reason we expected this downtrend to continue, right? Because again, what happened here? Let me be clear about this, right? We came down to the golden pocket, and we actually looked for this in the Discord too. SFP of the golden pocket for a retracement into the value area low. But at that point, are we looking for new all-time highs? No. We're looking for lower highs and lower lows. Why? Because your money flow is in the red, and the money flow indicates the longer-term trend. And if that's the case, then any bounce to the upside, while money flow is in the red, and especially like an early crossover like this, would be looked at as lower highs and lower lows. This indicates the trend is going to continue down, most likely, not 100%. And the trend is your friend until the end, right? So you're going to be looking for you could look for the bounce, which we were, right? But you have to look at it as lackluster retracement for lower lows. And then here you might say to yourself, well, hey, we actually had bull divs down here on the daily, right? Lower lows, higher lows, right? We did not hit the 786. And as we got that bull div, sure, a bull div on the daily is very nice. Could look for a move up. But we also looked for a lower high here. Why? If you come to the 2-day, as we were putting in that bull div, even on the 2-day, the money flow on the 2-day was just starting to cross over into the red. What does that tell you? Trend is probably going to continue down. Lackluster bounce for a lower high and a lower low is probably going to come. And the fact that you front ran that 786 was like another little bit of a warning sign of like, hey, can you front run 786s? Sure. It happens all the time, right? But we had a weekly naked point of control down there as well. And very often you do like to come back and test those actual levels physically, right? And when you have the money flow saying the trend is probably going to continue down, you could look for the lower high and the lower low, right? I mean, it doesn't mean just because we looked for that, like we could have been wrong, right? Like we could have just seen that bull div front run the 786 and we blast off new all-time highs, right? But when you combine all this stuff, you just put the probabilities in your favor. And we will look for something like that, and one day it won't play out, right? And that's totally fine. Sometimes the analysis just won't play out. But more often than not, if you have enough confluence, you can start to look for this kind of stuff. But yeah, pretty simple. Let's see. Shout out to Crypto Max. He said, Frankie, if we make all-time highs and we don't start a bear market until the end of the year, will that give you more faith in the 4-year cycle? Shout out to Crypto Maxi. Shout out to Multi-Sig Dummy. He said, without Market Cipher, I'd be poor. Shout out to Market Cipher. Yeah, it's like, it's insane, right? Money flow crossover into the round daily, continuation, or 2-day, continuation down, right? That's really what I love Market Cipher for. Obviously, I use it for the divergences as well. VWAP, everything, all that good stuff. But money flow is just goated. It's insane. But yeah, would it give me more faith in the 4-year cycle? I mean, I don't know. I really look at the 4-year cycle as, just another thing to look at, right? Like for me personally, like if the chart looks bearish, I'm going to be bearish, right? Like if it looks bearish on the 5-minute, I'm going to look for a 5-minute dump. If it looks bearish on the weekly, I'm going to look for a weekly dump, right? If it looks super bearish with money flow coming out on the weekly, I might look for a bear market, right? But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of use it more as of like what happened last cycle. They rhyme, right? History doesn't always repeat. It rhymes. Even this cycle has been different than last cycle already. So yeah, I just, I don't really put the, if the chart was screaming absolute dump and the 4-year cycle said it's too early to top out, I would 100% always rely on the chart. And maybe it would be wrong at some point, right? But for me personally, like if I saw massive bear market signals and I'm just like, yeah, it's too early to top out. Like it's just like another layer of confluence, right? Like we saw some weekly bear divs here. And I do say, right, like if we do come down, like it's a little early in the cycle to top out, but we came down here, bullish divergences, like, yeah, it's just another level of confluence for me. I don't really like make decisions based off the cycle. I make my decisions based off the chart. So hopefully that helps out. Shout out to Crypto Maxi. Oh yeah, I mean, sure, absolutely. So you got to give the cycles some credit, absolutely, right? Like the cycles do have some input on my thoughts, right? But it's never just, that's like it's never, you could say like, oh, usually, this many days after the halving, this is typically where we see this happen. And I totally use that information, right? Like I have my cycle chart. Do I have it open right now? I have my cycle chart marked off with the halvings and the bottoms. And I even have like everything labeled here, right? I have like the distance between the halvings and the bottoms and all those measurements. And those 100% help me make my decision. But I don't, like a lot of people will be like, well, you want to wait until this month to start buying altcoins and stuff like that. I just like to do additional analysis on the charts. But I 100% use the cycles to help me make my decisions. I just don't make the decisions based off them solely. And I do want to be clear, if the chart says down, like super bearish on the higher time frames, and the cycle says, it's too early for the top now, I'm always going to go with the chart. But at the end of the day, regardless of what you go with, like sometimes the cycle will be right and sometimes the charts will be right. I just tend to stick more on the charts. Shout out to Crypto Max. He said, the reason I say something is nothing else I've ever seen has anything close to a cycle. Yeah, I mean, it is pretty insane, right? Like it's undeniable that the cycles have a play. Like here's the thing, right? The other thing that you have to understand about the cycles is the Bitcoin bull runs are based off the they track traditional finance, right? Like Bitcoin has never been in a massive bull market when all traditional markets are collapsing, right? So if you actually in my 2025 prediction video, I think it was, I actually dropped the S&P over Bitcoin, and you could see it so clearly. They're like 100% correlated. And for me personally to say that the cycles are the reason that price moves, it would have to be stock market going down and Bitcoin skyrocketing, right? Like, and I mean like over time, not just like one day. So they have to like decouple for a long time for me to be like, okay, the halving happened and Bitcoin skyrocketing and everything else is in a massive recession. That would mean like, but at the end of the day, if we had a massive recession, Bitcoin is a risk-on asset. Crypto is a risk-on asset, right? It's gonna go down, right? Not even in my opinion, just historically, right? But yeah, I mean, undoubtedly, I mean, they repeat for sure, and that's not to say that the halving doesn't have a supply shock effect. That is obviously true, right? The more rare something becomes, the harder something becomes to make more of, the higher the value is going to go, right? So yeah. That's kind of my 2 cents on the 4-year cycle. I kind of love it, and I also don't think it'll last forever. But up until now, I mean, it's just like they just keep repeating. It's insane. They all got their little quirks, but for the most part, they're pretty dang spot on. But let's see. Gotta go. Love y'all. Keep stacking. Shout out to Jack. Have a good one, bro. French Toaster said 250K tomorrow afternoon. Heard it here first. Shout out to French Toaster. Let's go. I hope so. Lackluster. Shout out to Jungle Boy. Let's go, baby. All right, so let's take a look at some of these altcoins real quick, guys. Take a look at Ethereum. Let me come on over to the public chart. Bada boom. All right, so let's take a look here. Look at that. Let me just get rid of these random boxes. So there we go. Get above the POC. Next target for Ethereum. We looked at this yesterday. And the day before, Actually, we've been looking at this ever since we made the low here and started to retrace, right? At this point, we drop down. We start to get the bounce, pull from the high to the low. We know once we get above that POC, the next target is going to be the golden pocket, sitting between 1830 and 1852. And here we are, tapping that golden pocket currently. If we break this golden pocket and we can get above it, we will be looking for the 786/value area high, sitting between 1952 and $2,000, right? 1940, great year. I was born that year. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, where was Ethereum yesterday during the stream? 26 second. Yeah, so we started to pop. We were popping during the stream. Came into the golden pocket earlier this morning. So, yeah, I would say, like, next stop for Ethereum, if we're going to continue to pump, break that golden pocket, $1,950 to about $2,000. And then once we break above that, you could potentially look for, right, you would have to break out of this, right? Like, this is the level, this is the first level you have to break out of. But really, like, the doorway to higher prices on Ethereum are really sitting. Where's it at? There we go, right? This is your doorway to higher prices on Ethereum. Whoops. So get above that 786, flip that value area. Whoops. Flip that value area low. That's what opens the door to the POC and potentially higher, right? Locally, we just have our little mini profile here. So these are the two contexts that we've been looking at. You're hitting your head on the value area low. We know once you get above that, the next likely place for price to go is going to be to hunt out that POC, which we are approaching right now. Flip that POC, look to go to the value area high, and then in a slightly different context, looking at the bear market range, these are the same levels, right? Value area low, POC. Depends on how you want to look at it. But in terms of the larger bear market range, POC, get above that, look for the retracements. But we'll see. If we can break out of this range, you know, the 2-day, 3-day bull divs on Ethereum may be able to squeeze us up here a little bit. But if we do get another bigger dump, right now I'm viewing this in the context of the mini profile. Right? And I would just treat this as a range, right? If we get above this value area high, we get bearish confirmations, you can get back into the range, potentially back to the POC. And if Bitcoin winds up getting a huge dump, right, from where we are now, or maybe even up towards our next key levels, and Ethereum starts to lose this range, that's where I'm turning on that bear market range, hunting out towards about $1,300. So at this point, you're back in your range, can't get back out, back to the POC. Now we're kind of bing-bonging around, but, once we lose that POC again, you might be on your way to the value area low. But hopefully, in the bullish case, take a look at the daily money flow trying to creep up here, desperately trying to creep up here, right? So, if we do wind up coming back down, just understand, like, the next big level of support to look at is going to be $1,300. I would feel really good about Ethereum if we break to $2,100, the macro value area low. That would make me feel a lot better about not having to go back down to $1,300. But until that happens, could just kind of fake out here, potentially, and go back down. Once you break out, we could look to flip that, and then I'd be feeling a little bit better. Excuse me. There we go. Shout out to Salvador. Says, send everything to zero. Send it to zero, baby. We don't even want $1. Send it to zero. All right, let's see. 2K within a month at the latest for ETH. Shout out to Black Haze, I think is what that says. Shout out to you, bro. Yeah, I mean, 2,000 potentially. I mean, listen, if we get another little pump here, all you got to do is break that golden pocket, go for the 786. You're at 2K. Might even happen sooner. What does DWTHP mean? Doorway to higher prices. Because just based off the volume profiles, right? This was our doorway to higher prices on our first approach here in 2023. We knew once you get into this range and flip it to support, once you get in, right, next likely place for price to go is the POC. Stay above the value area low. You can look to begin your journey through the profile. Deviate above the high. This is where you want to be looking for shorts back into the range. We kind of faked out here once again. But traditionally, right, it's never going to be perfect. But for the most part, once you get accepted back into your range and you cannot get back out, the next likely place for price to go, POC, value area low. Bounce off the value area low, back to the POC, flip it to support, back to the value area high, deviate above, back into the range, can't get back out, POC, value area low, right? So there you go. That's why it's the doorway to higher prices, right? It was the doorway to higher prices here. We knew if we held this level, we could potentially eventually fill the profile. So if we get back above here, we might potentially eventually fill the profile. So there you go. Hopefully that helps you out. ETH is the new Litecoin. Oh my God. Shout out to Brian Varney. Said, isn't that a trend line on ETH behind you like Bitcoin? Trend line behind me? Shout out to Brian Varney. Yeah, I guess you're probably just talking about this. Yeah, this is kind of Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a huge, like, unless it's like a super obvious trend line, which I guess you could argue this potentially is. Like, it's much cleaner on Bitcoin. Let's see where this anchored VWAP is from the high. Yeah, if we do come up, that anchored VWAP is probably going to come down towards this POC. Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'd be looking at on ETH. Targets remain the same. We already hit target number, we hit target number 1. Let's see if we can make it up to the value area high, right? And again, we're just looking at that simple volume profile. Same thing, and I forgot who said it. Whoever's asking for the doorway to higher prices. Any value area low is usually a doorway to higher prices. You have to understand its resistance until proven otherwise, but once you get in there and you start breaking up, you have an opportunity to fill that entire range, right? Some people call this an 80% setup. I don't have personal statistics to say it's actually 80%, so I don't really feel comfortable saying it's 80%, but that's what they call this, right? An 80% setup. When you're looking for volume profiles, typically people will be trading like session volume profiles or just like daily volume profiles. So like typically when you get accepted into like a previous day value area or just a previous area of balance or value area, you will fill it, right? And it's kind of the same thing here. Pull up a higher time frame, right? We have this range formed here, so we could say to ourselves, hey, if we ever... when we come up, if we ever reapproach that area of balance, very likely those levels will get respected and we'll see that range fill in full. You kind of bing-bonged around here a little bit, but once you came up, bearish retest on the value area high probability of filling that range in full to the POC, to the value area low. Volume profiles are absolutely goated. So anyway, let's continue on here. Take a look at XRP. Yeah, there's not much of an update here, to be quite honest, on XRP, right? Like, we're just holding up. And again, same thing here, right? Break above the value area low. This will be your doorway to higher prices, right? Here's your volume profile, value area low, POC, value area high. This is the most powerful trading tool you could possibly use. The best way to view the market, in my opinion. Break above the value area low, flip it to support, could start your journey to the POC. It's not always a straight shot, right? But a journey up into your POC. And that would make the next target, still sitting here on XRP, at about 240, right? Or, I'm sorry, 238. Flip above that, look to go to the value area high. Very simply put. So there we go, right? I need you to see this. Deviate above the high, get back in, can't get back out, POC, value area low. Deviate, back in, POC, value area high, deviate, so on and so forth. You front ran the value area high here, though. But yeah, there you go. All right, let's see. $6. Shout out to Tony Roaz. Says $6 for XRP soon. Yeah, I hope so. Let's see. See if we got any targets up there. All right, assuming everything, listen, if we have alt season, I do think, hey, we could also, news, XRP's obviously moves pretty crazily off of news as well. Yeah, you do have a extension pocket up there. Let's check the larger fib levels. Whoops. From the high in 2018, because we didn't make a new all-time high in 2021. So yeah, we make a new all-time high. It's probably going to be between $4 and $5, in my opinion. Right? Once we break the high, that's like the next significant Fibonacci pocket that you have, and then above that, 739 to 840 or 850 almost. But yeah, I actually have an XRP video that talks about every price target that I'm looking at. So check that out if you have not seen it. Actually, I have it on this chart. Let me pull that up real quick. Yeah, break the high here locally, right? You have these local levels, but the next major target, 554, break above that, 845, 1158, about almost $15 potentially. Now, am I just going to hold on to all my XRP until we hit $15? Absolutely not. But those would be the next targets if we make new all-time highs, right? Honorable mention here between 418 and 554. So there you go. Shout out to Manny, said, we will be kicking ourselves looking back at this saying we could have bought ETH under 2K. Shout out to Manny. Listen, nobody wants, right? I mark my words, right? Like, especially, and I can tell, right, because of all the pain that everybody felt on this big drop, right? It became very evident how many people were buying tops when we got this correction. This correction on Bitcoin, right? Now, obviously, all coins are different, right? But on Bitcoin, just as an example, this dip on Bitcoin did not do anything to me. I felt nothing on this dip. And that is because I bought Bitcoin when it was when nobody wanted it, right? That's where I was buying Bitcoin. So this little push to the downside literally did not do anything to my emotions. I did not care at all. I expected it to literally push into this exact level, right? Not because I'm magic, not because I'm better than everybody else, nothing like that. Just looking at simple Fibonacci levels, right? And it just goes to show the pain that everyone was feeling on this drop is insane. That just shows, it just goes to show how many people flood in at the highs. Oh my God, Bitcoin's breaking 100K. Oh my God, I got to buy in. I'm going to miss it. Boom, destroyed. And everyone's saying bear market, bear market, bear market. And then I have to try to explain why it's not a bear market, especially when all the altcoins are crushed. You're like, how is this not a bear market? And it's just simple. Market structure, right? This is the bullish trend. This is not my opinion, right? Like, this is not what I think. This is just how market structure works, right? So again, I know alts took a dump, right? I felt that as well. But yeah, like no reason to really say Bitcoin was in a bear market. Shout out to Runners for Nerds said, Frankie Candles, have you ever tried a double up DGen account? Not that it's encouraged. Shout out to Runners for Nerds. What do you mean by a double up DGen account? Let me know, and I'll let you know if I ever did it. Yo, shout out to Yusuf said, we missed the let's see. I was actually, has anyone ever seen Theo Von live? He does this thing during his stand-up comedy where he goes, what else is going on? Let's see. Nothing much. And he says that phrase 1,000,000 times during the set. And it's definitely to fill the pauses. And I said to Mrs. Candles, I said, I need to, or maybe it was Tony, I said, I need to figure out how to fill my pauses with something other than let's see, or It's very difficult. There you go. Runners for Nerds says, take profits from each trade and see how many you win in a row. Shout out to Runners for Nerds. I don't know if I fully understand exactly what you mean. Like just try to grow like a DGen, like open up a DGen account, take DGen trades and try to grow it. Potentially. I do have DGen accounts. I just recently took a 5K DGen account to 15K, and then I lost a lot of it as well. So DGen accounts very rarely are slowly and consistently growing over time. All DGen accounts are, like, it's like perfect example, right? Because like even me, I can put 5K into the account, flip it to 15K, and if I'm just DGen trading that, very likely that 15K is going to go back down to 5K and probably less, right? So yeah, it is fun though. I will say that, but I'm never risking money I can't lose, right? I can afford to lose that 5K. But yeah, shout out to Runners for Nerds. I don't know if that's exactly what you meant. There will be more bear markets for BTC. Shout out to End of Days. No more. I was going to say End of Days. That was a very End of Days thing to say. But no, opposite. There will be no more bear markets for BTC. Well, hey, as the asset class matures, this is just how assets work, right? The higher the market cap, the more stable the moves get, right? Like as time moves on, the less explosive the moves up and the less corrective the moves down, right? Or the less explosive the moves down. Now, could you see a point in Bitcoin's history where like you just see like real money come in and you get something? There's like I forget what they call this. It's like some theory, right? Where like all the big money comes in like almost all at once and you get some kind of like big God candle. And I mean like a God candle like no one's ever seen before. But for the most part, right? The higher the market cap goes, like you are just going to it's going to stabilize, right? It'll just kind of like, it's also like logarithmic regression. You're just going to see it kind of like stabilize. It'll just go up slowly over time. Like the stock market, right? You're not going to get, it's just going to become less volatile in simple terms. Shout out to Sweet Bid. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate you. It says for you. Shout out to you, man. I appreciate you so much. Let's see. Can we get 650 likes, guys? Let's run it up to 650 in the next. I'm running it down. 1 minute. In the next 1 minute. Let's run it up to 650. Come on, baby. Smash that like button if you have not already. Hit it 3 times if you have not. Just make sure you hit it an odd amount of times. Bitcoin has a huge market cap, though, and it still dumps hard. It's big, but it's not big compared to other markets. Yeah, she's still really a baby in the grand scheme of things. Frankie, I noticed my shout out to Golden Valley said, Frankie, I noticed my level for the macro fibs were different. I had to take it off log to line up with the MPOC. How often do you switch between the two? It depends. I don't really switch between them very often. But yeah, like if you're, yeah, I usually have, let me actually see. I think I'm usually on, yeah, I do toggle between it once in a while. They're not, I mean, yeah, I guess on a, yeah, I mean, I guess I was getting front run a lot on basing it on log, right? Like, yeah, I don't really toggle between it very often. I usually have it off, though. And it does usually kind of work out because you can see it brings it down a little bit when you turn it on log scale. But I guess, like, I don't know. Like, this is me. I'm sure if you, like, by the book, if you're on a log chart, if you're on a logarithmic chart, you should probably have it fib based on log scale. But I usually have it off. That's just how I have it. And it works. So, yeah, hopefully that helps you out, Goldavelli. It's a good question. It's like a weird question. Not a weird question, but like it's like one of those weird things. It's like it's almost like where to pull your fib from, right? Well, it's simple. Pull it from a swing high to a swing low, right? Well, then how do you avoid the front runs, right? Like if I'm looking at the full golden pocket retracement here, whoops. Right? Like how do you avoid that, right? Well, you have to pull the local fibs as well. And the best way I could say that is, you know, are you wrong? Right? If you're looking at this fib, are you wrong for looking at this fib? No, right? Because at the end of the day, if you do come back down, this is going to get respected too. So you have to pull the local fibs as well. And where are you going to pull it from? For me, I like to pull where it gets impulsive, especially where it breaks all-time highs, right? Or breaks structure to the upside, right? In this case, it was a break of all-time high. So that is a significant low. So you have to pull it from significant swing lows. This is a significant higher low because it broke structure to the upside, right? Other than that, you know, could you pull it from here? Sure, right? If you were looking at this, you would have bounced off the golden pocket, right? But at the end of the day, the next real one I would look at is pulled from that low. So there you go. That's like a very like, it's a big question that like I think a lot of people struggle with. Like I always wondered about that. And unfortunately, I had to learn a lot through like trial and error, right? And that's a lot of it. Hopefully I can help you guys not have to learn through trial and error, or at least less than I had to. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Manny said I ran out of alt accounts to hit that like button. Alarm just went off. What are we at here? 522 likes, baby. We're almost at 550. Run it up, baby. Run it up, Mafia. If you enjoy the free content, guys, it's the easiest way to help support the channel, push us out into that crypto YouTube algorithm. And we appreciate it very much. So many altcoins breaking out of a falling wedge pattern. Bullish. Shout out to Tricks. So yeah, let's take a look at Morpho? I think I'm at the point now where like, at least for my obviously we make videos when it comes time, you know, we make videos about altcoins and all that good stuff. But when it comes to like my personal life, when someone asks me like, what should I buy? Man, like all it takes is something like this where like you get the big move up and a massive drop down, right? And you realize that especially when people are first getting into crypto, I think I might be done telling people to buy altcoins at the end of the day, right? Like if they're not like if you don't have all day to sit on the chart. Now this is a little different on the YouTube stream because we can keep an eye on stuff. I can update people, and usually people tune in every single day. But like people in my real life, they're just like, tell me what altcoin to buy. I want to get rich, man. Come on, get me that crypto money, dude. And it's just like all of those people wind up buying the tops and selling the bottoms. And at the end of the day, they would have been better off getting the smaller amount of gains buying Bitcoin. So it's like, yeah, I think I am going to, from now on in my personal life, just point people to it. Buy Bitcoin. If you can't wait, if you're just trying to get rich overnight and you can't wait to buy Bitcoin and wait for those gains over time, then you have too short of a time horizon and you're probably going to lose your money. High chance. But again, here we can keep updated with stuff, but let's see. Little Juan says, is TA supposed to be charted with log or linear? I mean, it's really preference. You can look at it however you want. I like to look at it log. It just compresses the price action. So yeah, that's kind of, I always look at log. Very rarely, unless you're like trying to get perspective. Like if I'm looking at altcoins, right? Like people always wonder, like, pull up some, like, all right, yeah. So you're looking at, like, say you're looking at Chainlink here. Right, I'll turn off the TA real quick. Right, if you wanted to get, like, it just gives you a little bit better perspective, right? Like to try to like kind of figure out how much you've come down or up, right? It's like, well, actually, let's do it on ETH because ETH is like an extreme example, right? Like on the log chart, it's like, I mean, I guess this just looks like a dump on every single chart, but like you can see, right? There's the difference between log and linear, right? It just compresses the price action a little bit. And it just makes everything look gigantic, right? Like here's your January 2018, massive dump into 2019, 2020, massive rip. And then when you turn it on log, it's just like much more condensed. So yeah, I chart on log all the time. Yo, shout out to Do. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you for dropping those Frankie Candles memberships. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Shout out to Do. Dropping those 5 Frankie Candles memberships. I just dropped my headphones on the floor. Shout out to the Power of Myth, Jennifer, Saeed, and Psychedelic Astronaut. Welcome to the Mafia, guys. Thank you for doing that. And shout out to Camo. Shout out to you, bro. Welcome to the CandleMafia. Now you can't leave. Shout out to Juan, said how to volume trade your entry, bro. Shout out to Juan. I don't know exactly what you mean by how to volume trade. Are you talking about the volume profiles potentially? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. Shout out to Rad IRL. I don't know how to say that. I think it's Rad IRL. Said hello, Frankie. Hello, Mafia gang. Shout out to you, bro. Welcome in. Take a look at link. And congrats for the channel. Great content. Shout out to Canal. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. Yeah, we can take a look at Link. But let me take a look at Morpho first, and then we'll take a look at Link. Taking a look at Morpho. So, yeah, I mean, you do have your 2-day bull div, which has been confirmed. Money flow in the red. Let's take a look here. So, yeah, you kind of have this like macro downtrend, very similar to what was on Bitcoin. Yeah, you're kind of testing it right now. So I would say, right, I can't really go up to the weekly and the monthly, right? There's just no higher time frame information here, unfortunately. Yeah, you don't have the daily bull div, but you do have the 2-day bull div. It's so oh no, I'm sorry, you do have the daily bull div. Never mind. I was looking at the 16-hour. So yeah, I mean, you're getting bull divs, right? You have the bull div from this low. And then you also have this local bull div as well, right? So you're starting to put in momentum's trying to come up. Let me go ahead and mark out some of these key levels. So you have a weekly MPOC right here. Weekly MPOC right there. Weekly MPOC here. Weekly MPOC here. Whoops. Boom. I'm not going to mark out every single level. I'm just going to go ahead and mark those all as MPOCs. What? Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. That's not confirmed yet. Let's take a look. I'm going to mark out weekly levels as well. Whoops. Weekly. Boom. Boom. And then that weekly is tapped. All right. And let's take a look at any nice monthly naked. No. Let's take a look at the daily. Yeah, you got MPOCs everywhere. All right. So I'm just going to mark off the local daily levels. So you do have one right here that you're tapping up against right now. And you got another one right here. Another one right here. Okay, so if you could break above this trend line, I mean, this would be, yeah, I mean, this thing's just been like in an aggressive downtrend. Just perfect lower high, perfect lower high, perfect lower high. And look at this, daily money flow crossed over into the red, right? I mean, you don't really have much money flow before that, but right as your bigger downtrend starts, that's where your money flow stays, and it's been in the red ever since, right? Lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. Hard to say. Number one, you got to get above this trend line, right? And let's pull some volume profiles here. I'll come down to like the 4-hour. Yeah, it's a little bit of a wonky chart, so there's not really I don't know how helpful these volume profiles are going to be. You've broken out of this one. Let's pull up the VPVR real quick. Let's pull this fib. going to get this trend line off the chart real quick. Whoops. So you got the weekly naked point of control, golden pocket, 786, high volume nodes. So this would be a key level of resistance. Might be able to pull this right here. Boom. Okay, yeah. So I would actually take this volume profile. So value area low, POC, value area high. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I would say this is kind of your first big level, right? I would say you got to get above. If you can get above this value area low, sitting at about $1.24, you could start to begin your journey into the POC and value area high. I'd really like to crack out of this. Once you get above this weekly naked point of control, that would be a decent. Yeah, that would be a decent. Yeah, flip above these highs. I would like to break out here. Get above the value area high, weekly naked point of control at about $1.70. I think that does open up the door for more upside. But locally, I would take a look at this volume profile because at the end of the day, once you get accepted into that value area low, you have a decent probability of going from the low to the POC to the high, right? So if you can get above here, it's not a guarantee, but if you can get above here, look to potentially, you have the weekly naked point of control, pretty big level, right? Get above that POC, go to the high. I hate drawing this on the 2-day like that because the line's all wonky. But yeah, these are the levels. Value area high at about $1.63. POC sitting at $1.52, weekly naked point of control at $1.41, and then the value area low at $1.21, right? So that's your if you want to at least get a little bit of a move up, that's your key level. $1.21 you got to get above. And let me just see this real quick. If I pull this trend line once again, I would say, yeah, I mean, that'd be nice, right? Because if you could reclaim the value area low, you'd be breaking out of that trend line as well. And that would be nice. So there you go. The key level to break above, $1.21. That would be nice. So yeah, those are the levels I'd look at. Not really a ton of stuff that I could look at here on Market Cipher B. 4-hour money flow in the green, that's a decent sign. You had that 4-hour money flow crossover in the green last time you rotated the volume profile. So look to break that $1.21 level. All right, let's continue on here. BTC will become pretty stable in the future when its market cap nears gold. Yeah. Shout out to shout out to Black Haze. We actually just talked about that. That's actually interesting. I don't know if you heard us talk about that, but that's actually funny because we just talked about that. Ugo Igro said, Frankie, could you take a look at Peak? Yes, yeah, we'll take a look at Peak, and I will take a look at Link as well. So let's take a look at Peak. But let's take a look at Link real quick. All right, well, there we go. Link in our... Actually, never mind. I mean, this is just like a random fib that we had pulled from the past. But hilariously enough, we're respecting that actual golden pocket 786. Like, literally to the dollar, which is super weird because this is a random golden pocket pulled from a different move. Would not be the golden pocket 786 I would look at necessarily for that move that we just got. But yeah, I mean, taking a look at Link, I mean, came down to the, I don't know what this is. It's not labeled. I have no idea what this level is, but we retraced down to it towards the value area low. I'm sure it was a naked point of control. Probably a weekly MPOC. No? Monthly MPOC? No? I don't know what that level was. Other than the value area, or near the value area low. But yeah, let's take a look here. So let's bring up the TA. Bada boom. Whoops. All right, so you got back into your range, flip the value area low to support beautifully, right? You break out of your last range, flip the value area high to support, rejection on the value area low, final acceptance, move to the POC, flip that POC, look for move into the value area high. So I would potentially look for something like this on Link, right? Money flow just starting to cross into the green on the 8-hour. Daily money flow starting to cross over into the green as well. So let me pull up the 4-hour real quick. Confluence on the POC. I would say right now your POC is your key level of support, right? You have your POC, golden pocket, 786, right? If you can remain above the POC, that's where you can look to continue your journey up towards that value area high. Sitting right now at about 1739. So yeah, I mean, it's a local golden pocket. You could go for the bigger one. But just in general, based off the volume profile, POC would be key support. And this is nice. I mean, you're back in your range. This is, I don't hate this. Let me just go ahead and pull a little bit of a local range as well. A little bit more locale. There we go. Got your value area low, POC, value area high. So nice. Yeah, you're starting to crack out of here. I mean, you would want to be careful. This is resistance. Deviate above the high. Potential acceptance back into the range. So you do want to be a bit careful here, but due to the 2-day bull divs recently confirmed down here before the big move up. I mean, obviously things can cool off. Yeah, daily money flow crossover into the green. With your 2-week green dot approaching, if we get these 2-week green dots on really any of these altcoins, could be a very, very nice sign. But yeah, overall, I would really be. Let me see this. Yeah, I mean, let me just. Oh, did I not put all that in a folder? That's trash. Macro range. Yeah, I mean, this is your overall macro range. So value area high, $20, yeah, 2068. POC 1428. Value area low 1170. Yeah, 6-hour money flow. Yeah, money flow's coming up, right? Like, this is nice for a continuation of the upside. So I would say if you can hold above this POC, look for the continuation up through your profile. And you're probably going to get some local resistance, right? But I don't want to mark off every single level. Just based off your volume profile, I would say hold above here, go up to the high, right? Not an instant shot, right? But you could begin your journey up to that value area high. And at the end of the day, right, as long as you remain above the value area low, right, if you go for like a full retracement, lose the POC, retest the golden pocket, and then come back up, that's possible as well, but you're just within your range here. You would just view this as a typical volume profile. So, yeah, that's what I would look at. Money flow looks good. And, yeah, these daily money flow crossovers with the 2-week green dots would be very, very nice to see for more upside. Obviously going to be tied to Bitcoin as well. So there we go. There is Chainlink. Let's take a quick look at Peak. Let me see. I think I have a Peak chart over here. No. Let's take a look at this one. So I'm going to get rid of all these other levels. Boom, 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 boom. MPOCs are still going to be there. Dailies are still going to be there. Is that tapped? Okay. So I'll give you the local levels on Peak. We have broken back above our Fibonacci extension zone. So this is what I would look for on Peak. Yeah, money flow crossover into the green. A lot of people ask me, how do you know if price is going to keep rotating the profile or break out? Typically, money flow is something that can do that for you, right? Money flow crosses into the green. You're going to anticipate the overall trend to potentially begin to the upside. I would say if you could break out of this volume profile and flip this daily to support, you might be able to get the bigger move up. If you get the rejection back down, pretty clear volume profile here. You have your daily POC, daily horizontal, and your POC confluence here. This is sitting at about 11 cents. Your daily value area low is also confluence. So these are your local levels. Value area high, $13 cents. POC at around 11 cents, and then the value area low at around 10 cents, right? So with this money flow coming up, I would actually feel pretty good if you could break that above that daily, right? You're looking for, maybe you cool off, higher lows, higher highs, but once you could break out of that daily, if we pull up our volume profile, remember, we had a pretty quick drop here. So pull up the visible range volume profile. Yeah, I mean, you get above that daily, you're also cracking above this shelf of volume. You have a pretty big fall off into your next daily. So flip that to support. This is sitting at about 15 cents. Stay above that. You might be able to start your bigger move up towards about 21 cents. These are the levels I would be looking at. Simply put. So yeah, there you go. There is peak. Let's see. Shout out to MF Jord. Said, who the heck cares about the monthly? About monthly? I don't know exactly what that means. Like, who cares about the monthly chart? Hopefully everybody cares about the monthly chart. Let's see. Shout out to Daishoda. Says, check the BTC monthly chart. It is very bearish. Flopping Grover tweeted about it. Worth checking, no? Yeah, we could take a look at the monthly candle on Bitcoin. Let's see. I don't know. What is bearish about it? A monthly doji. And then this is, yeah, I mean, I don't, I'm not saying that it's, I mean, maybe there's something I don't see. But yeah, I don't, typically like a bearish monthly candle looks something like this, right? Where it's like a bearish hammer, right? Big wick, tiny little body, right? That typically indicates some kind of a reversal, right? Big wick up. Price tries to push up. Sellers send it back down. Closes in a very bearish manner. This oftentimes indicates reversals. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, like, I mean, what would I just generally look for here to say if this is bearish is like, I mean, if it was a giant bear hammer, I would say that, like, if this candle looks something like this, right? Right? Like, if the candle looks something like that would be really bearish to me. But again, I'm not saying, maybe there's something I don't see. Potentially, if Flopping Groper said that it looks bearish, maybe he's seeing something I don't see. But this doesn't look necessarily that bearish. That doesn't really look like a bearish candle to me. Yeah, like, you see these like long wicks on the bottom, like typically do give you, I wouldn't really classify that as a bull hammer, right? But you have these like nice long wicks. Watch out that liquidity for another big move up. Doji candle, basically just sideways, continuation up. So yeah, I don't, yeah, I'm trying to find something. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm not seeing. But I don't see, there's nothing really screaming at me that's like a super bearish candle. But yeah, I mean, we shall see. Yeah, I mean, listen, like the big thing, I mean, like I said, this is decision making. This is the decision time for Bitcoin, right? This is the area where you would very likely put in a macro lower high. If you were going to look for a bear market to come, this would be the place to do it. And this is what we've been looking at for months and months and months and months. Maybe that's exaggerating, but ever since we started getting this bigger breakdown, right, and we put in the low here, like around this POC at 97K, this is the big area, right? Because if you're looking at this from a Fibonacci standpoint, we look for the higher low, or we look for, higher low to come in at this golden pocket, right? I think it's actually there. Golden pocket 786 this is where you would look for the higher low, and whether this is going to be a higher low for a higher high, or if it's going to be a higher low just to put in a lower high and then reverse back to the downside. It really is going to depend on this weekly money flow. This weekly money flow does not look very good still, right? Because like it's coming up a little bit, but like if this makes a lower high, it's just going to look really bearish. But I don't see anything specifically about the monthly candle. Do you know what he was looking at? I could try to shout out to Dai Sobata. I don't know how to say your name, bro. I apologize. Yeah, maybe I'm tweaking. Sorry. Good to get multiple opinions. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, now you make me like now I want to question it. I want to be like, what does he see? Yeah, it's never you'll never catch me guys being like anytime someone sees something, like I seek out people who look for something different than I'm looking at, right? I approach my entire life like that. If I have a differing opinion than somebody, I want to ask them questions because if there's something they know that I don't know, I'm going to change my mind, right? If I learn and I figure out like they're probably right, I want to be on the winning team, right? So yeah, I mean, yeah, now I kind of want to check it out. Yeah, shout out to if he tweeted about it, I'd be open to it too. So yeah, shout out to you, bro. All right, so there we go. It's almost bullish engulfing. That's what I see. Shout out to Creighton C. That's what I see. Yeah, it's like very, very close to bullish engulfing. We have VWAP coming up. Again, not that can't, come back down. Who knows, right? Like, at the end of the day, right, TA can only give us a good idea. And I know we get it right way more than we get it wrong. And I know the TA usually plays out. But it's never 100% of the time, right? At the end of the day, it's just another thing that we can use, right? That's why we want to find confluence, right? Like, if this was like a bearish hammer candle, I would really like... I would be really worried, especially with the high time frame money flow. But we shall see, right? Like my general thesis remains the same as it has been ever since we looked for the pull down to 80 to 75K when we were up here in January. Come down here, and then depending on what money flow looks like when we pull up into these key levels, that is where, we're very likely going to see the result, right? Either that or boom, all-time highs. That's what I'm looking at. And we will be reacting regardless. We'll be looking for the shorts. If we put the higher low in and break it to the high, we'll stop out and profit and send it off into new all-time highs. And if it continues down, hey, maybe we short the exact top for the start of the bear market. Not the side of the coin that I fall on, but we are open to both sides because we make money trading Bitcoin, whether price goes up or down. But guys, that's all the time I got for today's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys for hanging out with us here till the end of the stream. Smash that like button on your way out, and yeah, we'll see. Let me know on the way out, guys. Do you think we're going to hit 97K and dump, or are we going to break it, flip it, and send it to new all-time highs? That's all the time I got for today's live stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the Frank Candles YouTube channel. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm going to get that second bell. Where the f*** is it? They should have had them two bells ready. Space shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Shout out to, was it K Diggity or Jesse that said, bring back the old chair? Hey, you don't got to tell me twice. We got the old chair in the house, baby. Send this thing back to 100K, baby. Hang on. Yo, you guys are probably like, how does he still have that chair? All right, we got the old chair back, guys. Now Bitcoin can go back to all-time highs. We all know that the chair, the new chair, called the top. The old chair is now going to call the bottom. You heard it here first. Frankie's new chair calling the bottom on Bitcoin. That's all the time I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know, on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah. On the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll, ayy. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah. Maxed out, put the pedal